Today's Yin Yoga class is a Yin Yoga class for spinal flexibility. For today's class, you're going to need a blanket and a block. You can start your class by resting back for some centering. You're going to be in this resting back position for 5 minutes. You could place a bolster underneath your legs if you want, or lie with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, or your legs out long. So just begin by noticing the support of the earth underneath you. As you breathe out and let your exhale sink down and into the ground. Feel the tension from your body letting go with the pull of gravity. And become aware of your spine as you're resting back here, from your tailbone, which is curving inwards, your sacrum connecting to the ground between your butt cheeks, your lumbar spine, which is curving up off the ground, your thoracic spine connecting to the ground in your mid to upper back, connected to your ribs, your neck, which lifts up off the ground all the way up to behind the bridge of your nose. And then open your awareness to your breathing. Without changing it in any way, just notice how it commingles or connects with your spine, relates with your spine. Or if there's a relationship between your breath and your spine, there's no right or wrong or better best answer. So we're continuing our journey through the Radiance Sutras, and we're on verse 7. Let your attention glide through the centers of awareness along the spine with adoring intent. There is a song to each area of the body. Listen to these sounds, resonating in sweet choruses, long rhythmic vowels. Ah and E, hum, om, resounding on and on. Listen as these sounds, then more subtly as an underlying hum, eventually as the most subtle feeling. Then diving more deeply, dissolve into freedom. Okay, from this recline position, we're going to move into Banana Asana. I think I did this pose about 4 times yesterday. I did 2 yin classes in a row, and of course, I think it's my favorite yin pose, so now I get to do it again. So we're going to do this pose for 5 minutes on each side. So take your feet over to the left side, your torso over to the left side. And this may be enough of an edge. You can take your arms overhead as well. Hold on to your elbows or your wrists. And you can also fold up a blanket and put it underneath your elbows or a bolster. And you may want to even just keep your arms down by your side, especially if you did this pose a lot yesterday. Let your attention glide through the centers of awareness along the spine with adoring intent. Let your attention glide through the centers of awareness along the spine with adoring intent. So on the first side of Banana Asana, let's bring our awareness to the first 2 principles of yin. So finding an appropriate edge, we want 70% effort. Too much intensity will affect the flow of chi, so that our attention can't glide through the centers of awareness along the spine with adoring intent. But not enough intensity will not energize the flow of chi. Then we want to soften. So you can smooth your forehead, soften the skin on the back of your neck. Soft tongue and jaws relax, teeth open. And let there be less tension in your brain. Soften through your joints, your shoulders, your hips, your toes, your ankles. Soften your eyes. Okay, you're going to come back to the center. And in the center, we're going to feel the rebound, the flow of chi. And then we'll go ahead and move into this pose on the other side. So now you'll take your feet over to the right side. Side bend over to the right. You take your arms overhead. Hold on to your elbows or your wrists. Or you can stack a blanket underneath them or a bolster if your arms are feeling tight. You can also move them wider apart, which can make it easier as well. So listen to your own body. You're going to be in this pose for 5 minutes there. I should hear the bell this time. So coming back to our Radiance Sutra here, let your attention glide through the centers of awareness along the spine with adoring intent. Let your attention glide through the centers of awareness along the spine with adoring intent. So in our yin poses, we are still, we don't fidget, we don't need to fix or change the pose. We don't need to intensify it. So there may come a point in the pose where the deeper connective tissues soften more and you sink more into the pose. That's okay, but no pushing and striving in the pose. And also we're not trying to escape sensations, but if it's sharp shooting or electric, then you do want to back off. And we stay for a while. In this pose, we're staying for 5 minutes. When we ask ourselves, can I arrive in my body in this moment and be curious with adoring intent about what I'm experiencing in my body? I do find it really helps in my practice of yin to focus on the points in my body where chi can become stagnant and blocked, which are the joints. So in my shoulders, my hips, my knees and ankles, and to use my mindful attention in those places to continually soften and let go. And I do find that that opens a spaciousness that allows for the flow of chi. So in our yin practice, we can place our attention, like I said, that's a practice I've been working with for a while, at focusing on the sites of the joints and letting them be soft so I can feel the flow of chi. That's a kind of mindfulness practice. an allowing mindfulness practice, so there's no pushing and striving. Right now, as I'm practicing outside here, I'm also coming into the present moment by smelling the grass. I'm also listening to the sounds of the ravens. And feeling the support of the earth, the solidity. So there are lots of ways we can come into the present moment. And the time flies. We're done our 5 minutes. So come back to the center. Feel the rush of chi energy along your spine now, the blood flow and chi. And then we're going to move on to our next pose. This is going to be a recline twist, and it just depends on your body. You can choose what option is going to work for you. You can do a symmetrical twist if the version that I've chosen doesn't work for you. So you could do just a straight twist if you would like. You could place a block between your knees in this twist if you'd like. If your shoulders are tight, you can place the block under your knees. Or the version that I am going to suggest is a figure 4 twist. So you cross your right ankle over your left knee, press into your left foot, take your hips over to the right side, and you're going to lower your right foot down. Okay, so this, some people find this too much in their SI joint. So you'll know you and your body if you do. And then you'll just go back to one of those more symmetrical twists if the asymmetrical twists aren't great. You're going to be here for 5 minutes. There is a song in each area of the body. Listen to these sounds resonating in sweet choruses, long rhythmic vowels. There is a song to each area of the body. Listen to these sounds resonating in sweet choruses, long rhythmic vowels. So opening our sense organs is one of the ways that we can stay in our present moment. Listening to the sounds in our room. Listening to sounds further away. Okay, we're going to slowly come back to the center. Press into your feet and untuck your hips. And allow your spine to unravel. Feel that flow of chi just rush along the spine. And probably into the outside of your right hip as well. And then we'll go ahead and come into this pose on the other side. Did you see the hummingbird? It grazed me. Okay, so you're going to bend your right foot, cross your left ankle over your right thigh, press into your right foot, take it over to the left side of your mat, and lower your left foot to the ground. You're going to be in this pose for the same amount of time, 5 minutes. So there is a song to each area of the body. Listen to these sounds resonating in sweet choruses, long rhythmic vowels. So we can also use mantras when we hold our yin yoga poses. And there were mantras built into this actual Radiance Sutra, Ah and E and Om. And there's no reason why you couldn't use those. Ah, you inhale and you exhale with an Ah, sound of the heart. You could also use the mantra Om. We like to use the mantra, others feel this too. Especially if your mind is really discursive or you're feeling really judgmental about an experience, then to know that others have been through this too can help to soften that. Okay, we're going to come back to the center. I'm going to lie in the middle and just feel the way the energy pools and the blood gushes along the spine. Notice that sense of opening and relaxation. You'll probably feel it along the outside of your left hip as well if you took the figure 4 option. Okay, for our next pose, you're going to need your block or a bolster. And all you're going to do is take your block underneath you, and you can choose what setting you want it on. Remember, in yin, you're doing 70% effort. So you're just going to take it underneath you and take your arms overhead. You just want your spine to be out long, so you can play with the settings and see which one feels like it's going to give your spine a length. Remember, you're going to be in the pose for 5 minutes. So then more subtly as an underlying hum, eventually as most subtle feeling. Then more subtly as an underlying hum, then more subtly as an underlying feeling. In this pose, it might be nice just to focus on the interplay between your breath and the sensations along your spine. Okay, so you're going to very slowly come out of this pose. Going to gather your arms, bend your knees, tuck your tailbone under, slowly roll down through your spine. Okay, just give yourself a chance to settle here for a moment. Feel the flow of chi with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And you may even want to draw your knees into your chest here gently after that back bend there. Then from here, you're going to come up to a seated position. From seated, you're going to either sit on your block if your hips are super tight, or you can take your blanket and fold it so you can sit on it. And you're just going to sit cross-legged with one leg in front of the other. You could sit in cow's face pose if you want. You could sit in fire log pose if you want. If you know what that is, you can do it. If you don't, we're going to sit cross-legged. And all you're going to do, we're going to be in this pose for 5 minutes. You could have a bolster out in front of you as well. You're going to fold forward and go to one side. Doesn't matter which side because we're going to do both. So let your attention glide through the centers of awareness along the spine with adoring intent. Let your attention glide along the centers of the spine with adoring intent. So you're slowly going to come up out of this forward bending side bend. And pause in the middle and feel the flow of chi. Just notice how that feels along your spine. And then let's just switch the leg that's in front. And we'll go ahead and do this on the other side. So it's a forward bend. And then it's a side bend. So you want to find that appropriate edge, about 70% effort. So maybe you go to the full and you back off a bit. Soften your shoulders, soften your jaw. Breathe. Let the back of your neck be soft and long. Okay, so we're going to slowly come up, and you're gonna rewind and watch that because there's a deer that walked behind me in that sequence, just so you could see that. It's really cool. Okay, so just coming up to the center and feeling the flow of chi along the spine. Notice how it feels to sit here now. You might just want to move a little bit before you rest back for Shavasana. Feel your spine. Feels so good. And then you can rest back in Shavasana. You'll be in Shavasana for 5 minutes. You can lie on your back with your knees bent, your feet flat on the floor, or you can put a bolster under your knees, or you can lie on your belly, can be nice too. You can lie on your side even. Let your attention glide through the centers of awareness along the spine with adoring intent. There is a song to each area of the body. Listen to the sounds resonating in sweet choruses, long rhythmic vowels. Ah and E, hum, resonating on and on. Listen to these sounds, then more subtly as an underlying hum, eventually as most subtle feeling. Then diving more deeply, dissolving into freedom. Let your attention glide through the centers of awareness along the spine with adoring intent. There is a song to each area of the body. Listen to these sounds, resonating in sweet choruses, long rhythmic vowels, ah and E, hum and om, resonating on and on. Listen to these as sounds, then more subtly as an underlying hum, eventually as most subtle feeling, then diving more deeply, dissolving into freedom. Okay, so you're going to let your breath deepen. Start to invite some movement back into your body. Feel how delicious your spine feels still. You can bend your knees and roll to your side. And make your way up to a seated position. We'll close out our practice by gathering the fruits of our practice first into ourselves and then offering it out into the world. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. May the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom for all. So give yourself a thumbs up if you're feeling radiant. Thank you so much for subscribing and sharing this video with other people that you think would enjoy this yin class. And put "my attention is gliding along my spine" in the comments. I want to thank Donna, Sean, and Viola for your donations, and also let you know about our Earth Element Retreat in our membership community from Thursday, September the 3rd through Monday, September the 6th. It's going to be 4 days. We have recipes, we have classes, live classes every day. We have a schedule of classes for you to follow. It's going to be an extension of our 5-day grounding earth challenge. So you got little tastes like appetizers, but we're going to take it much more deep. You can have partners for it. But yeah, it's going to be 4 full days. I know people that are taking time off work for it. There's only 2 official work days in it, but if you work weekends, you could take the weekend off. But it's going to be a really lovely retreat just to take energy that tends to rise up. Earth element people tend to be worriers, and this time of year we can tend to kind of worry. We'll take that energy and we'll, through the stomach meridian, we'll just ground it right down so you feel really rooted and grounded. So we'd love to have you join us for that. Also, let me know if you saw the deer in the video. I'm sending you much love from beautiful British Columbia. May your joy be as deep as our Pacific Ocean. May you be as rooted as the old growth trees in our forest. And may you be as strong as our mountains. Om Shanti. Namaste.